Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today I'm reviewing Mayfair, which is episode 5. It's entitled The Thrall, coming to you from AMC, streaming on AMC Plus. So, what did I think about it? And should you be watching? Before we get into the review, get down there and hit like on this video. Well, at the end of the last episode, there's a big fire, an attempted murder, and a lot of spiritual shenanigans going on at the house on First Street. Rowan, Ciprien, and more than a few spiritual issues. In this case, it's Lasher not being particularly happy with the Talamasca having anything to do with his women and his family, and Carlotta wanting to get rid of the next designee, aka Rowan. But you know what? You wouldn't know that from the start of this episode when it's pretty clear. It looks like everything's all sunshine and rainbows. Ciprien and Rowan are kind of getting their love on, getting to know each other. It's a very, very, nice looking situation until you realize it looks something's not quite right here. What's Lasher up to, and can they extricate themselves from it? I would say I think this is, the episodes have been getting much better as time is going on, mainly because it's actually getting to what the hell the story's about. And by that I mean, like, there was a lot of setup in the first few episodes, and they were sort of not really saying what this was all about. And I'm not saying that this episode is like outright saying, "Hey, this is the end game that we're aiming for." But it's definitely finally moving forward. And the moving forward is Lasher's making his play for Rowan to, be his next witch, I guess you can say. After losing Deirdre, in the previous, in a couple episodes ago, he set his sights on her since she's the next in line. And in the previous episode, she took the key, and that sort of has, opened the door for him to step through. But what we see in here is Ciprien being under the spell, but also figuring out it's who knows how many days it's been since he's been stabbed, and they've been sort of in a dreamland. He's been getting worse, and until the point where, reality intrudes and they realize they're under some sort of spell. And we find out also that Lasher is quite powerful in this house, and that Rowan is also powerful in her own way. And it leads to like a bit of a confrontation and some revelations. For instance, I think it's interesting that Ciprien himself he's a threat, but he can also be, I guess, a reward for Rowan for doing what Lasher wants. But his knowledge of magic, his understanding of the situation makes him a real threat. And he also sort of sees like into the past of what happened to a previous Talamasca member who sort of disappeared without, trace. And that apparently Lasher has some kind of power to keep, spirits within the house itself. Does Lasher the question is, Lasher know what he's trying to get at? Does he know where he comes from, what he is, any of that stuff? Rowan tries to find out, doesn't quite get any real answers, but she does learn she has some power and some say in what's going on. And it sort of leads to her trying to pit herself against Lasher and his wiles, if you will. See, he's continuing to try to seduce. That's his thing. But it also leads to, not just like a bit of seduction, a bit of, I guess you'd say, attempts to take control of the situation by Rowan. That kind of leads her. Leads her to meeting her aunt, who is oddly, she's oddly like in and out of existence. So it makes you wonder if that aunt is alive or has been a spirit that's been with Carlotta. And then she has a final kind of confrontation with Carlotta, where she finds out the truth about what happened to her grandmother, Antha, and kind of I don't want to say takes revenge, but maybe defends herself against Carlotta, who let's be honest, she's not a good person. She's doing what she's doing, trying to do good, but she's not a good person, and clearly is a murderer and everything like that. And kept her niece drugged and all that stuff. It's so I mean, is anyone in this story really good? Is a good question. But it all leads to Rowan kind of accepting her power and using it, to kind of break free of the house. And at the same time, Ciprien sort of, he gets sent to his own house by Lasher. Again, he seems quite powerful, and because that's what Rowan wants. And we see the Talamasca members at work, which I really enjoy because, this international secret organization clearly employs many people with special powers, and to see that spell that they use on Cyprian to heal him was very fun, especially that his sister sort of she witnesses it and then realizes that the world's a much bigger place as a result because of what her brother does. And I'm sure that's going to come into play later on, her knowledge of these things. But it's obvious that, we know he's kind of an amalgamation character. It's pretty clear that he's going to be pretty important to the conclusion of this story, especially because, Rowan has romantic feelings for him and he shares them. And that's not good for a protector from the Talamasca to get personally involved. And Lasher doesn't like it. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of resolve that, what looks to be a love triangle, especially when it comes to someone who has psychic powers like Cyprien. So overall, I was very pleased with this episode. I do like that it seems to be picking up pace. It seems to be definitely going somewhere. I'm just curious. They have 3 episodes left in the first season. How are they going to get to the end of this first book? Or are they even going to finish the first book? It seems unlikely at this point. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to the next episode. But anyway, what did you guys think about it? What did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comments section. Let me know your thoughts. And, of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or @supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this video. Hit subscribe and the notification bell. That all helps with growing the channel and helping more people to see these videos. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining me. Come back next week for episode 6 of the Mayfair Witches. Till then, I've been Mo de Poupée, resident fabricant and commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.